I mean, I've never had to retire from international duty, so I can't comment on his decision making. But
I was forced to. But I'd forgot I'd had the moustache while I was sitting in the front of this meeting, and he's gone mad, and I'm just sitting in the front. He goes like, "You idiot," and I'm like, "What done anything?"
And he stuck his legs in the air and just sit there for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So I thought, Colin was doing it, I'm going to do it as well. So
you got to see Darren Fletcher.
You've got Darren Fletcher, Man United's Darren Fletcher
it's
at
poor, isn't it?
5th. Yes, the warm-up, week 3, a slight break for the Scottish Premiership, but the action goes on. We've got League Cup to look forward to, big games down the divisions, and what a duo. 2 guests who join us. Charlie Mulgrew, Sam Wardrop, how are we? Both well?
Aye, good. Pleasure to be here.
Good. We've got retired footballer, and you quite made up your mind if you're a retired footballer.
Still a footballer, but just in between. In between at the moment, yeah. Semi-retired.
Just like to take some time out to be a social media extraordinaire and then dip back in. How's it been?
It's been good. It's been an interesting journey, a little bit unconventional for most footballers, but it's something that I enjoy doing now. And 26, I've still got 10 years left, I think. Did you stop playing last year?
37, I stopped.
So I've got 11 years to go.
You're a defender as well, so hitting them peak years, 27, 28, 29.
They do say that's the prime.
What's the daily routine look like for a retired footballer? I know you're in coaching now, but I've got it in good authority. You were in the gym at 6 o'clock this morning. You're still trying to keep yourself ticking over.
I consciously tried to keep on it. So I used to go to the gym, but I still go to the gym 6 in the morning on Monday.
That's a good effort.
Lows, 6 in the morning and a Wednesday as well. And then I was doing Metcons, like a metabolic conditioning, on a Friday. And then sixes. I used to play sixes as well.
He's lost me.
I don't know what it means either. I'm just repeating what I get told.
He's absolutely lost me. Let's talk football. I don't know how this is going to work, because we're going to talk strikers, and then we've got 2 guys in that play at the opposite end of the pitch. Yeah. It's like we didn't think this in advance, but it's been a big week for strikers because Adam Idah signed for Celtic, Bojan Miovski's heading elsewhere, Tony Watt's back at Motherwell. There's loads happening. So let's start with Adam Idah. Charlie, what do you make of that signing?
It's a good signing. It's a lot more money, as reported, than I thought it was going to be. But you've seen what he'd done for Celtic last year. Kyogo's obviously probably going to be the main striker and play most of the time. But I think when a team presses Celtic, you've seen against Kilmarnock away at Rugby Park last year, it's that other option to play forward quicker.
Do you think he'd play them together, maybe?
No, I don't think he will. No, he's settled in a 4-3-3. I don't think he would play them together.
Wouldn't shift Kyogo out wide, or maybe number 10 even?
I think there's that option, but I think that would be 3rd or 4th option. I think that either one of them plays, and you've seen even against Motherwell last year, Kyogo can start and then Idah can come on and give a different dimension in terms of earlier crosses in the box even. Taylor sets him up last year and he scores 2 away to Motherwell to win the game. He does well against Kilmarnock holding the ball in. You can, when the team are getting pressed, sometimes if a team get a press right like Kilmarnock did that night, and you play it up to a big striker and he can hold it in, it takes 7 men out of the game at times, 5 men, and if you can hold it in and lay it off, they're away. So it's another dimension to Celtic's game, which Brendan Rodgers has always notoriously liked those types of strikers, Dembele and Edward and people like that. He's always had a striker like that.
See, in terms of environment, Sam, like Adam Idah having been there before, how much do you think that plays into the decision where there's never any guarantees in football, obviously, but a bit kind of tried and tested on both sides?
I think it's massive for players anyway. You spend 90%, more than 90% of your week at the training ground. So for me as a player, when I was deciding to sign for teams and stuff like that, I would always take that into consideration. What's the environment like? What's the players like? What's the management like? What's the staff like? What's the training ground like? So I think obviously
what's the money like?
That's the main one. Well,
that's the main one, isn't it?
The one caveat to that I would say is I didn't make loads of money from playing football, obviously playing lower down. Aye. So there's other things that come into play as well that make it worthwhile. So obviously money talks at that level. Money talks, but for me as a player playing lower levels, a big part of it as well is the environment and who you're going to be playing with and playing under. So I think he's obviously experienced it, enjoyed it. Money's obviously good as well, so why not?
And so what about playing against then? Are there any other strikers in the Premiership at the moment that you two watch as defenders thinking, God, I wouldn't want to go up against them, just their styles?
Obviously the obvious one's Miovski. I played against him before. He's a good player. He can hold the ball in. He's got great movement in behind. Probably him. He sticks out to me.
You mentioned Miovski, bang on topic for this week. I don't think Aberdeen fans are going to like celebrate the fact that they lose a good player, but I don't feel like it's a really good, like, feel-good transfer story, because Aberdeen get the money that they deserve, and it's an unbelievable move for him. Like, you know, for Scottish football to think that even out with Celtic and Rangers, you can get a platform to do what he did and then move to a team that finishes third in La Liga and, you know, playing in the Champions League.
It's brilliant, all round a good deal. What much was it in the end? Was it?
I mean, it's a lot of money they're talking, so it's record for Aberdeen, the ballpark, 7 million, you know, you get add-ons and all that sort of stuff. But even for him...
Amazing, amazing for him. I mean, moving to La Liga and a team, as you say, finished third, it's playing properly. He's part of that, like, is it Man City group where they play proper football and play properly. You'll be looking forward to that. And then the money Aberdeen get, I've got to be delighted with that.
And do you think that, speaking of obviously Miovski and the Celtic strikers as well, Rangers this week with their Champions League result, do you think that they're in the market for another striker? Do you think they're right with Dessers and Danilo going into the full season? Or
I think you need Dessers and one other, definitely. So if you can guarantee Danilo's going to be fit, then they'll be fine with that. But if you can't, then you're going to need... Dessers proved that he's fit and available and he's willing to step up and play, but I always think he needs a few chances to score.
You'll have seen that, you know, the Champions League qualifiers and how unforgiving it is, and it's right at the start of the season, and then what that can mean, you know, going forward. You're like aware of that as a player, like the Rangers players, will they be feeling that knowledge that the budget probably won't be as big now as it would be if you go and qualify for the Champions League? Does that mean you can't bring in another striker, or, you know, does that stuff affect you as a player?
No, as a player, you're not thinking of that side. You're thinking of the fact that your season's not after a great start, because you know that the fans, it gives everybody a lift, and that's what you want in your season. You want to be playing at Champions League, and you know what it means to everybody around the club. There's no getting away from that. They've probably discussed bonuses and what each player's getting for getting in the Champions League.
Is it even players on the bench will get a bonus as
Everybody will get something. Everybody in the club benefits from it. So you're more thinking, as a player, can I play at that level? Can I go and be involved at that level? Can we give the fans a lift? Can the whole club start the season well and be playing in the Champions League? Because Celtic are obviously there, and you want to be beside them playing in the Champions League. But so it's really disappointing. It's devastating if you don't get there. And obviously behind the scenes, the budget obviously affects a lot of stuff. So they'll be disappointed.
I'm thinking about all these different types of strikers that you'd have played with at Celtic as an example, or across your career. If you've got a win or bust game tomorrow, who's like your ideal striker? How the guys that you played with? Who's the one that you're
playing
picking
against? Have we got the ball? Have we know?
Oh, come on! Don't start all that coaching. Don't start that coaching jargon with me and spoil this purely hypothetical question.
The first person that comes to my mind is probably Gary Hooper. You just know he's. I mean, I'm thinking of the Spartak Moscow goal, and he scores, and you know when the ball comes up to him, his touch was brilliant, and he was some finisher.
He could score a range of goals, I guess, couldn't he?
Yeah,
it wasn't just like your standard in the box striker. I remember
at
Norwich,
he was a great finisher.
Scored some bangers down there as well.
He just didn't want to run about without the ball. So that's the night we beat Barcelona. Actually, Hoops didn't play. It was Miku played that night. He didn't really want to run about either, but he did a bit more than Hoops. So that's why I was asking, will we have the ball? Will we know?
Do you think that maybe over the last 10 years, there's always that conversation around there aren't that many true strikers anymore, like maybe there used to be? There's a lot of hybrid attackers.
He's played everywhere. Must be the only place you've not played.
Yeah. I don't think I was up in the... I've never played striker, no. I don't know if I was ever up there in the scoring charts.
Even for a 90th minute, you're chasing the goal, Gaffer never stuck you up front.
It was mad because it was depending where you played well, do you know what I mean? So if I had a good game at centre-back, I'd be like, I love centre-back, and then maybe Neil Lennon would put me into number 6 or midfield and we'd play well. I remember away to Hearts, we won 7-0 and I was had all the ball dictating the play, and I was like, I love it in there. But then one game where you're getting pressed, you have a nightmare, I actually prefer centre-back. So just depended. We had a lot. The good thing with Celtic is you knew you had a lot of the ball, so no matter where you played, you knew you could kind of get in the ball. Played left wing that night against Barcelona. Say it left wing, I was doubling up as a wing back really high.
Who were you up against? Who was on the other side then against you?
Pedro played that night, right wing. Adam Matthews.
Pacey as well.
He was pacey, so I just spent the whole night going out there to double up with Pedro. So he couldn't go, and then he would never take his own, never take two of his own. They don't take him on, they just come back, and then I'll just go in and shut the inside channel so they couldn't play it through the gaps to Messi or whatever. So I just spent the whole night just doing that. I could have played with a pair of spikes on. I don't think I kicked the ball.
Let's go for a random prediction time. Top scorer in the Scottish Premiership this season. Who's it going to be? You've got a wee head start. You've seen already who's looking good after a couple of weeks, but who's it going to be?
Can't see past Kyogo.
Just so many chances.
He's going to get loads of chances, isn't he? He seems to be on it this year as well. I think that they spend so much time in the team's defensive, the attacking third for them, the defensive third for other teams. It's like there's chances going to come, and everybody in the Celtic front line knows exactly what their role is, what the manager's looking for, how they're going to play. It's kind of see past Kyogo
Sam
for me.
Put it out there. This is the social media clip that you can share in May when you get this right. Bang on the nose.
I mean, it's hard to, with Celtic's kind of dominance and stuff. It's hard to look elsewhere. So I'm probably going to go with the same as Charlie.
What that means now, though, is that it's time for you two to get put on the spot. You're big into your coaching now. You do your one-to-one sessions. The Rondo. So, we've taken one of those modern football phrases and we're going to use it for our own entertainment. So five quick fire questions.
Part of a warm-up as well, was that deliberate? Nice.
Sort of. So 5 quick fire questions from me to you, and from the two Sams, they can team up. You go first.
Yep. Should we go first? You ready, Sam? You'll love it. Right, ready? So would you rather have an Aidan Nisbet top knot or a Charlie Mulgrew mane?
A Charlie Mulgrew, mate. Nizzy's hairdo is terrible.
Are you just saying
your hairdo is good?
Is that the best hair in Scottish football, would you say?
Oh no, don't.
It was at its time, wasn't it? I don't know who's got it now though.
What's that?
I suppose you're not.
You're the best hair in Scottish football when you played.
The Hamilton Aki's under 18s job still counts as Scottish football.
Okay,
he's in there. We'll keep him in.
So, which Olympic sport are you going to train for in 2028?
I like it.
I'd go for the 100-metre sprint.
100 metres sprint.
What a ridiculous
the statistic. Say the statistic.
I would go 400 metres.
Did you see that poll they did?
I saw the poll.
So it was like the public were asked, like, which Olympic sport do you think you could train for to the next Olympics? And 6% of the UK public thought they could make the 100-metre sprint.
I don't think I could make it, but that's the one I would train for. I would
Any
train for
reason
it,
why? Like, I was thinking something completely.
That's my game. That's my game.
Rapid,
sprinting, nothing else.
I just thought it was going to be something more like the break. Is it breaking?
Shot put. I could do the shot put.
You do shot put. Javelin.
Javelin, yeah.
100 metres, okay. He's gone bread and butter Olympic event. Fine.
So question 3: pre-season, love it or hate it? Because you're into your coaching, obviously. You love the fitness.
I love it. I love it. I like running. I like the physical side of football.
What do you think of that? Is that mental or is it?
Yeah, no, I can understand, because I didn't understand when I was younger, but I understand now, because when you go through the session after, you feel amazing. It does feel brilliant after it.
Fair enough.
The worst thing ever is a easy pre-season. There you go.
Well, out of the 3, Sweden, Scotland or Sydney, what do you prefer?
Is this to live or to play football in?
Just
I'm going Sydney.
Just to live in. Gone in.
Live in Sydney.
Okay. And who's the most famous person in the phone book?
I'm going to go Mikey Johnson. He's the most famous man I've got in my phone book.
Yep.
Let's do it. Charlie, your turn. Would you rather score direct from a free kick or direct from a corner?
Corner.
What was the story? Did you do it more than once in a season at Blackburn?
3 times.
3 times.
Mm-hmm.
Because I was trying to think.
Tony Mulgrew used to practice on a Friday. He's like, just shoot. He used to stand up and just say, just shoot.
So you meant to do it. You weren't just sticking it in the mixer in the wind.
He said, just shoot. And he took, to be fair to him, he took the pressure off me. He's like, just shoot every time.
Because I remember it being more than once, so I assumed it was twice, but 3 times.
So like when he first said it, just shoot, people were laughing, but because he was a manager, I was like, brilliant. So I just used to shoot. But what would it would never happen if it was just me on the pitch and the goalie. The key thing is Danny Graham used to just stand in front of the keeper or stand behind him, get the timing perfect. So if it was going over the keeper, Danny stood behind him. Strong guy, striker, and the keeper couldn't then go backwards, so it would just go in, or he would stand in front of him and he would just go in the front.
Do you think nowadays VAR would chalk that off with him?
He just stood still though. So as soon as the ball, he just actually stood still. So sometimes like it would go over and he'd be facing away, knowing that the keeper couldn't get past him. So there's actually no doing anything.
I'm starting to think Sam wrote these questions. He wants to know what's in that, wax, gel or clay. He wants to know what's in the main grease. Just don't wash it.
I wash it every 4 days or something. So I don't wash it all the time. I wash it every 3 or 4 days.
Is it?
So what I'll do is I'll wash it, dry it, no blow dry it, and then just let it dry and just before it's dry, I'll just put some matte clay in it, and then I won't wash it again for all 3 days.
Secrets,
Clay,
honestly.
clay. You didn't want to say
your street as well.
That.
Who would play you in a movie?
Who would play me in a movie? I've been told I look like Bradley Cooper before.
I can see it. I think he puts Matt Clay in his hair and
Who
lets it
told
dry.
you that?
A couple of people have told me that.
How depressing is that you can sit and deliver and say, I think I'd have Bradley Cooper play me in a film.
Bad.
The rest of us are just
I don't have anyone like that.
Do you reckon he could do a good Scottish accent though, Bradley Cooper?
No chance.
I tried to think of somebody like...
Who did you not dress up as the guy from Home Alone?
Yes, I've also been called him now.
The guy.
Marv from
I
Home
can see
Alone.
that one.
Marv from Home Alone.
I've
had that quite a bit. Like, that gets the best reaction. To the point where
It's your height though.
No, mate.
Nah?
Like, it's more than the height, because I've had just like faces sent before. I was like, oh no, that's me.
Quite a come down from Bradley Cooper.
No, it's a mad mix,
Okay.
innit? But I'm going to go Bradley Cooper.
Dream career if you weren't a footballer? And I don't think you can say manager. We've got to rule that out.
Dream career if I wasn't a footballer. Be good to be like a amazing singer, wouldn't it?
Like that.
I've got no. I can't
gonna
sing
say,
at
can
all.
you
Just going from nowhere.
No, nothing.
You had to get that
I would
before
be
we
good.
asked them.
Yeah,
Oh,
true.
like horrendously bad at singing.
You got a karaoke song?
But I would avoid getting up there at all costs.
Would you?
Oh,
You never had to do an initiation then, no?
I've done a couple of
to,
bad tunes. Really bad ones.
He looks actually scarred.
I know,
His
yeah.
memory.
Oh, I know, I'm getting flashbacks now thinking about it. I go to genuinely, like I couldn't sing unless it was on the radio. I couldn't even tell you the words of a song right now and sing. I would always like, oh no, freeze. I'm terrible at singing.
Let's finish then. Biggest name in the phone book. Same question to you.
Van Dijk, I would say Van Dijk. Aye.
Like that.
Virgil van
Would
Dijk.
he
can text him about
Would he
more-
text you back if you
Well-
text him right now?
Well, when I played them, we played them in a lockdown. We played Liverpool
did you?
and when it was lockdown just before the season started. I think we were the last game before they went back and played. And I was speaking to him after the game, him and Andy Robertson, and I said, "Can I get your strip?" And he says, "You text me after the game, and I'll send you." So I text him, and he put to Josh and sent my son a strip. So fair play to him.
Player you know well, obviously, Callum McGregor. Huge news recently that he's retired from Scotland duty. Was that a surprise for you, or did you expect it?
It was a big surprise, I think. But then when you actually look at it, he's been to 2 major tournaments. Not a lot of Scotland players in recent times have done that. There's a lot of games for Celtic, European games, and they get to the end stages of cup competitions, and they're always at the top end of the league fighting for. And he plays every game. He's always fit. People take it for granted. He's always available. So it looks like a sensible decision for him that he wants to give his all to Celtic and be there for the cup and European competitions. It was a surprise, right enough. I didn't see that coming.
Sam, I wonder, like, even just to sort of link it to your own thoughts on these types of things about just listening to yourself and doing what's right, and maybe like it's easy for us to say.
Yeah,
I'm sure fans might think I'd never retire from Scotland duty, or he's only 33 at the next World Cup, and why not go a bit longer? But ultimately, you guys, no matter what level you're at, sort of, I guess, just know when the time's right to prioritise other things.
I mean, I've never had to retire from international duty, so I can't comment on his decision making, but but I took a break from playing football 2 years ago professionally. Obviously not at the same level as these guys, but sometimes it's not always just to do with the football. There can be other aspects as well with players, you know, their personal life, things off the pitch. I think sometimes fans don't see that. You don't always see the full picture. They just think they see Callum McGregor, they see a player, they say, why would they not play until he can't play no more, you know? But there's other things I think as well. I can't speak for Callum, but for me anyway, when I stopped playing at 24, it wasn't just because I wanted to look after my body. I just kind of had enough at that point and decided to step away. So there's maybe more reasons to it when players decide to take a break from international football.
I think you're right, Sam, when you say about your body. A lot's in your mind as well. Like to play in these big games every couple of weeks or every week, and then go away international duty and play with your country with that pressure. It takes its toll mentally.
Draining, yeah.
And you're away from home a lot. You're staying overnight in hotels, so there's a lot more to it.
Relentless, isn't it?
Aye.
Because I've not played at the same level as yourself or Callum, but even just a normal football schedule, it's intense. You add in international games, Champions League games, cup games and stuff. It's people don't realise how.
Aye, and it's everything you do in the lead up to these things is like. So, for example, what am I doing today that's going to have me ready for Saturday? It's not like when you're not playing, you're doing what you want. You're eating right. You're maybe not playing golf because it's walking too much. You're having to rest. You're having to recover. What's the best thing to Am I doing my Normatex? Am I icing something? Or have I got a wee niggle that I need to be treated? Every single thing you do is related to the game on a Saturday, and then it's again straight after that, win, lose or draw, dealing with the pressures of that, dealing with the aftermath of that, whether it's you've had a bad game, you've not won, or whether you've won and you're buzzing. Then you need to go, right, recover again for Tuesday. What am I doing? What am I eating? How am I recovering? How are we travelling? It's just relentless.
What's he like? You know, is he a bit of a standard setter at Celtic? You'll have seen him obviously younger and maybe from a distance then seen the player has become. Does he put that sort of, you know, setting standards down every day?
Well, I remember Callum when he first came into the team, so I just remember a young lad coming through quite quiet, but was at it every day in training and really trained really well, was fit, great left foot, could see a pass, had a lot of good attributes, quick. And I thought he's got a right good chance. So I just seen that young lad who was leading by example for the young lads coming up to training, how it was, and his mindset was really good. Made mistakes, a young lad. I don't know, I can't name them. I can't name them off the top of my head, but I mean, like every young lad does, but learned quickly. That's when you realise, like, he learned quickly from mistakes that he made. And you could see he was going to go on and have a good career.
But speaking of being a youngster at Celtic, did you then come across him much when you were there, Sam?
Yeah, so Cal's close in ages to me, but again, 4 or 5 years older. But so I remember coming through the academy and seeing him go down on loan down south, and then coming up and kind of benefiting from that. But it's funny talking about personalities and stuff like that and growing up. So I was in Celtic when I was 12, left when I was 20, but guys like Charlie in the first team, I used to just try and basically follow what they did. So it might sound a bit strange, but I wouldn't quite follow the players around. But there was a number of players who I'd watch as a young player and think, right, you'll be the same when you were growing up as well, probably. Yep. What's he doing on a daily basis that I could implement into my game, my day, my training, and then I would try and do the same. So guys like Scotty Sinclair, this was around 2015, 2016 probably. Aye. So he'd throw cones down at the end of training and be dribbling. I'm not sure if you remember, he'd be dribbling in and out of them. I think, brilliant, I'm going to do that. So I'd add that into my training. And then I'd be up in the gym as well. He'd have Mika Lustig on this, like, you know, the Kaiser machine.
Aye.
Where he'd strap his feet into it and he'd be moving his hips. And I used to think, brilliant, if he's doing that, I'm going to do it. Might give me a chance in the first team. And then the best one was when Cole Touré signed. He'd be up in the gym after training. Again, I think he was a bit older as a player then, so he was really looking after his body. And he'd slide himself against the wall and he'd stick his legs in the air and just sit there for maybe 5 or 10 minutes. So I thought, Cole was doing it. I'm going to do it as well. So
all of a sudden you're training for 16 hours a day.
Honestly, at the time I probably wasn't far off it, but I had the kind of personality because I wasn't blessed with football ability. I thought, what can I do here to give myself the best chance? So I thought, if Colo Touré's doing it, maybe Yaya Touré's doing it as well. It might get me somewhere too. But it maybe did. I played a decent enough level. But these are just little things that you kind of really, you're very impressionable as a youngster growing up, and you think, okay, I'm going to follow these top players and see what they're doing, see if I can bring them into my game. So someone like Cal probably did similar growing up. That's why he was a success. And I don't know if you get any stories about players you maybe saw as you were coming up through.
I remember it was Larson and Sutton, and it was Neil Lennon and all that. They were the first team then, and I was similar to that. Like, what are they doing? That's all you knew. So all you would have known was the first team then, and right, this is what it must look like to be a first team player. So I remember, like, Martin O'Neill never really used to speak to the team or anything. So like, he would walk by you in the corridor. He was like quite standoffish, but he had that presence. So I always thought, when I seen managers talking to players, like later on in my career, or shortly after that, or you'd see Soccer AM, you see a manager doing crossbar challenge, I always think, oh no, he's lost that changing room. Because Martin O'Neill, I thought that was the only way to be, you know what I mean?
Do you prefer a manager who's a bit more standoffish like that, lets you do your own thing, or do you want an arm around the shoulder? Or
I don't, as long as a manager's being authentically himself, I think, then no matter what that looks like, then that's fine for me.
Yeah, it's just on Callum McGregor again, the trophy list kind of tells its own story, I guess. Where do you think where is he now ranking in terms of like Celtic legends, or, you know, all time? Do the trophy speak for himself? Do you have him right up there?
Oh, he's got to be right up there, isn't he? He's got to be same as James Forrest as well. Like, you've got to look at the trophies, look at what they've done, look at the service they've given. They've got to be right up there as legends of the club with the very top.
Right, we're talking Callum McGregor. I'm going to put you on the spot here. I'm going to get you to blind rank. Do you know what that is?
No.
Right, we're about to find out. I've got 5 Scottish midfielders that you played with, and you're going to rank them 1 to 5, but you don't know what name I'm going to say next. So I'm going to say a name, and you're going to need to tell me where he goes in the 1 to 5, but then you don't know who comes next.
Right, okay.
You see? Right, we're on the same page here.
Right.
Scott Brown.
1.
He's gone straight in.
Straight away. I wasn't expecting that.
That's a huge commitment. He's obviously no doubt though, is he? Or is he going to be worried by the names we mentioned?
We'll see.
John McGinn. He's now
3.
He's now
regretting his
second.
decision,
He's
yeah,
thinking
he's like,
who's coming
3.
next.
3.
Right, he's leaving 2 available. Okay. Stuart Armstrong.
4.
This is getting to. I
2
feel
and
nervous.
5. Yeah,
I don't know
my
why.
heart's going,
But who's
yeah.
going next? Callum McGregor.
2.
Which means.
Oh, I know you're going to say. I'm going to take a guess at who you're going to say. Are you going to say Darren Fletcher?
You've got Darren Fletcher, Man United's Darren Fletcher,
it's poor, isn't it?
5th on the list of midfielders you played with.
How would I change that? I would get
Bruni was number 1, right?
Fletcher
Just
up to-
So there's
straight
no
up there.
doubt that was nothing to do with the
Bruni's
game.
one, aye.
Scott Brown's gone in at number 1.
I didn't play a lot with Fletcher. I played. I don't know how many caps. Maybe under 10. I would say. Well,
Yeah, sounds
maybe
like
more.
you're backtracking.
I'm just telling you. It might be 10. Might just be more than 10. I didn't play. I played once midfield beside him, whereas I got quite a few caps with Bruni beside me in midfield. So I witnessed the type of running and what he brought to the team. Dan Fletcher was top player, no taking anything away from Dan Fletcher. When I played with him, he's brilliant to play with. Callum, that's so tight for him and Callum.
It's a nice choice to have, isn't it?
Aye.
I get John McGinn in there
John
as well.
McGinn as well,
Anyway,
yeah.
we won't hold it against you. We do have lots to look forward to this weekend, though. I know the league is, the top flight's certainly taking a bit of a breather. Let's take a look at what we've got to look forward to coming up over the next few days. I think already the Championship is just going to be sensational this season. Ayr United against Hamilton Accies. I just think on that, Charlie, you've mentioned him. It's a perfect transition. You know, Scott Brown, he's obviously, it's very early in the season. He'd be the first to say, like, you know, not to get carried away. But what are you making of those early stages? Because you'll have seen it over your career. Not all top players don't automatically become top managers, and it's a really interesting sort of transition.
I watched his game against, they've already played Hamilton in the league, first game of the season, and I watched him. I've spoke to him quite a bit since he's been a manager at Fleetwood and that, and he's big on running stats, and he knows how he wants his team to look. So I watched them with 4-4-2. They've signed well. They've signed really well this year, and they're looking like a good side that could challenge at the top.
Doing a lot off the pitch as well. Where United, they got a new stand that they're building as well. So just in general, looks like a good place for him
put
to
money
be.
into the club. The signings they've made are looking really good. I know I played with Scott McMahon at Dundee United last year, so they signed him, who's a left back usually, left wing back, and they're playing him centre half, and I've seen him play there before, so some clever signings.
What are the bits in his sort of character or makeup that you think will translate to management?
I think just the person he is in terms of leading by example on a daily basis. I think his intensity will shine through in terms of what he wants on the pitch, running wise. I think, as I said, he's into his stats, so he wants people to run. He wants people to press, to sprint back. If you just picture Scott Brown as a player, I can imagine he wants players that are of that fitness and are willing to put that work in.
And what about his assistant Whittaker as well? Do you think they're well balanced in their sort of the way they see football, I suppose?
Aye, Wits is a bit more quiet on Bruni. Good coach, I've heard, and a really nice guy, so the players will be able to relate to him as well, and Bruni will be demanding, I'd imagine.
Obviously, League Cup having its impact on the fixture list, but you look at League One, just so many games already standing out. I mean, Sam, this is going to tap into your expertise here. You'll know a lot of the boys involved, a lot of the teams involved. What's jumping out at you at this stage?
One of your former clubs there, Dumbarton.
One of my former,
yeah.
well, that's, I spent 2 or 3 spells at Dumbarton, which I really enjoyed. That was my first team game with Dumbarton when I was 19 on loan from Celtic. That was an interesting experience, eye-opening, because you go from playing boys football to men's football.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget my first game was at home at the Rock. This was in the Championship, so it was a decent enough level. And I was playing right back, and it was Ian Durant was the assistant and Stevie Aitken was the manager. Obviously, coming from Celtic, youth teams, even first team, you get the ball from the goalkeeper and you play it from the back kind of thing.
So I was at this game, I think.
You were at this game,
I think so, yeah. It was during it was behind closed doors, right?
No. This was before you started.
Oh,
this was
right, okay.
just the year before you started, and I've dropped to get the ball off the keeper. He's passed it to me, and it's a windy day at the Rock. I passed it back, and he's gone to just, it was a nice back pass. He's gone to just smash it up the pitch. And it's a windy day, so it's gone up into the air and it's just spinning back towards the goal. And lands in the 18-yard line. Everyone's nearly scoring the first minute. And you can imagine the shouts I was getting off the side of the pitch. So that was a baptism of fire for me.
There was the other one that you played in then where the keeper scored.
Oh yeah, the keeper's out. There was another game as well. That was a couple of years later. The keeper hit it off the centre-back, came out to clear it, hit it off the centre-back, and it blew in.
Goal of the game, I think.
Only goal of the game, yeah. So you do get some interesting moments in the lower leagues.
Yeah.
Scotland's lower leagues never disappointing. What's you're obviously involved at championship level, albeit with the youth team, Charlie. Who's the one manager you played under that got you, if you like, the best then, or got the best reaction out of you, or had the style that just you took to, not that they were better than the rest, but that just clicked for you the best?
It's a hard one, that, because I always go back to Neil Lennon. It's just because I was in the prime of my career when I went to Celtic. I knew that was my chance to kind of have a career that I wanted and a scene in my mind when I was younger. So I knew that was my chance, and he managed me well in terms of, I knew I had a connection with him in terms of, I knew he had my back. I knew that when my dad passed away, he brought the full team to the funeral. So straight away, you've got a respect for somebody and a connection with somebody. And I didn't mind getting told straight either. When he told me straight how it was, straight as anything, I knew where I stood. He was authentic as a person. Don't get me wrong, he'd go mad and get angry at times, but I honestly didn't mind that.
That is part of the authenticity, I suppose. If you wanted to get mad and you didn't, then
so when he goes mad, and he you know you deserved it. I mean, nine times out of 10 you deserved it.
But there was 1 out of 10 where you didn't.
That just sprung to my mind there, and that's why I'm smiling, because I remember he had a meeting once. Somebody had done something and he wasn't too happy, and I was in the front of the meeting just delighted it wasn't me. And it was pre-season, but we were both pre-season. You know what pre-seasons are like? We're in Germany, middle of nowhere, and I've shaved my face the day before, but I left a tash. I had a big handlebar moustache, but I'd forgot I'd had the moustache while I was sitting in the front of this meeting, and he's going mad, and I'm just sitting in the front. He goes like, "You idiot," and I'm like, "What done anything with that moustache?" I'm just sitting with a handlebar moustache. So that was maybe one time I didn't deserve it, or maybe I did for having that, but he was good for me. I liked him, and what he did. Neil Lennon had then a group of players that ran the changing room and kind of kept the changing room running well. It was me, Bruni, Gary Hooper, Joe Ledley, Paddy McCourt, Mark Wilson. We had a Kelvin Wilson. We had a good group of boys that kind of. So when they did lose their rag a wee bit or did go a bit mental, we could settle the changing room down and let them understand it was because it wasn't good enough, or we hadn't won a game, and you need to win when you're at Celtic.
Yeah, unforgiving business management. Let's take a look at what the League Cup has in store. Plenty to look forward to. Always think it's a brilliant stage of the season because you look at the sort of trap door, if you like. You go out the cup at this stage and the fans are on you, and it's a really sort of difficult start to the season.
I think Falkirk Hearts is an interesting one just to look at quickly. Obviously, they're still unbeaten from last season in the league going into this season too, and they can't knock its Hearts, who obviously lost against Dundee at the weekend too.
Yeah, there's a lot of Aberdeen obviously flying, not lost yet. The new manager, that's a nice way to kick off your managerial career. Jimmy Tillene not lost. Aberdeen and Queen's Park heading up there. We've already mentioned Rangers, Sam, like, you know, that pressure you go under at the start of a season. This is where this League Cup is so, like I say, it's unforgiving. It's brilliant if you go through, but if you go out all of a sudden, you know, like there's that doom and gloom, and you're not even out of August yet.
Yeah, I know, and it's within the same week. There's going to be a lot of pressure on the game for the player, and the players will feel it. They're going from Champions League game to St Johnstone, so there's a little bit of change of pace, change of kind of dynamic and stuff. But at the early stage of the season, the first few games can have a massive impact. So it's an important one for them.
It's just, and it's so early, Charlie, that you can change your mind from week to week. So first game of the season, maybe St Johnstone aren't looking brilliant, and maybe people have them down to struggle. Then they go to Rugby Park and win 3-0, which nobody expects, look really good, and then you start to wonder, can they be a surprise package this season?
I think it's important you don't get too carried away. It's all gets done every year, doesn't it? Like Celtic take the lead in the title race, and then as you say there, you mentioned St Johnstone don't start too well. It's important you don't get too carried away. Hearts get beat at Dundee. It were no great performances. The manager's already admitted, and we all saw Dundee looking good. They were top of the league. They're still top of the league. They're up there. They've started well. I think it's important you don't get too carried away. And you let the dust settle. After about 10 games, you can kind of get a feel for how things are going to look.
Yeah, always looking for a cup shock at this stage of the season. Spartans are the lowest ranked team in the competition, so you'd be looking there to see if they can cause an upset. And Sam, you went along, spent some time in the Spartans camp just to find out how they're gearing up for this one. Let's take a look.
League Two side Spartans are getting ready this week for one of the biggest games in the club's history. They're playing Premiership side Ross County in the Premier Sports Cup, and I'm here to do the warm-up for the warm-up. Debbie, thanks for your time this evening. So we've got a big game coming up this weekend, but I want you to kind of give me a bit of an insight into where Spartans began.
Yeah, so Spartans began across the road in City Park, but had huge aspirations to build a home for the football club and for our youth section as well. And it presented, this space here was presented an opportunity. Previously, kids would just, run amok around this area and like burn out cars, etc. So, we were fortunate enough to secure funding, and the football club had obviously had quite a successful Scottish Cup run as well, that we were able to build this facility. And over the last kind of 14 to 15 years, it's just successfully grown into a £5 million football academy.
Dougie, you've been the manager of Spartans for 12 years, is that right?
I think this is my 13th season, yeah.
And the 10-year vision was one part of that, obviously, to get promoted into the professional leagues.
Absolutely, yeah. It was always a dual objective of could we create this amazing community project, but at the same time on the park, could we actually deliver league football? And I think we all knew that if we could deliver league football, that was one of the ways that we could actually turn the dial for the project as a whole.
So, Boothie, you've won the League Cup, the Scottish Cup with St Johnstone. You won the double.
Challenge Cup as well.
Challenge Cup as well.
With Rafe. Not done your research.
I did do my research. I did look back, but I wasn't going to bring it up. You won 3 cups, okay. Now you're progressed out the group of Spartans to play second round against Premiership side Ross County. How are you feeling towards the game?
Yeah, excited. Looking forward to it. Obviously for Spartans to get through the group was a massive achievement. I don't think there's too many League Two teams have topped the group over the years. So yeah, amazing achievement to get through, especially we lost our first game 3-0. So to then go and top the group is just brilliant.
Thanks, Boothie. I'm going to give it my best shot at training now.
No worries,
what do you think?
no worries
Have I got enough?
Yeah,
I got what it takes.
You were not bad back in the day. You were all right, weren't you?
Appreciate it.
You were all right. You could get yourself a wee deal here. You never know.
Enjoy that, Sam. Are we getting an exclusive? Are you going to be Spartans' next signing? Is that the next step on your ladder?
There was talk of that. I'd asked, so I went along to do the warm-up as part of the warm-up, obviously, and I'd asked for a training kit.
What you did there.
I did. I dropped down. I thought it might be a little bit cheesy, but
no, I like it.
The guys told me to keep
Got
it in,
the
so I
branding
kept
in,
it in. But the club was fantastic. For a lower league club, they've only recently come into the leagues. 2023, they got promoted into the leagues. And to be honest with you, you can see why. I spent some time there, spoke to the manager, spoke to the chairman, spoke to the players. I was in the dressing room. Great, as I said earlier, it's important at these lower levels, money's not there, so what else is there? They've got great facilities, they've got lovely dressing room, they've got all the staff that you need, they've got 2 massage therapists there, massaging players before training and stuff, so they're doing it right in terms of, as a player, you go into a club, you want to make sure they're doing it right, so I can see why they've had a success, but the manager was fantastic, just in the kind of things he said and how he looks after the team and manages the
He's
players.
been there a long time as well. He won a few Lowland leagues before.
Years,
Yeah.
Over 12 years. So
you've convinced me. Can they cause a shock this weekend?
Potentially, I think that they're calm. They said whatever way the game goes, it's still a great kind of occasion for us.
Charlie, what's the biggest cup shock you've been involved in? You on the receiving end of any?
We get beat for Green at Morton.
I remember it, I was
at
there.
home. I think we had like 25 shots on target, and they had like 1.
Is it Dougie Emery penalty, wasn't it?
That's right. Loads of. I think Effie Ambrose slid and then handballed it.
Yeah.
We had loads of corners that night.
Did Virgil van Dijk play?
He might have done.
I think he did, and I've just always get this note. I wonder if it still bothers him. No, when he's strolling about winning Champions Leagues, I wonder if he still thinks about Dougie Emery that night, and if it keeps him awake. I'm thinking probably not.
I think he probably
Green
does.
at Morton.
I like to think so. I like to think it left an impression. Is it like, see, being on that end then of a cup shock? What's it like to sort of take in?
I mean, I remember the night clear as day. Like, we couldn't have been any more dominant without scoring. It was just one of the games. It was unbelievable. Loads and loads of corners, just couldn't score. Remember the ref that night was like, I was just so frustrated. I don't usually scream at refs, but I remember screaming at him because like it seemed to be every decision didn't go our way. I don't know if that was just the feeling of the game and frustration that we weren't in the lead. Devastating it is. It's been at Celtic and wanting to win doubles and trebles, getting beat for Morton at home is just unacceptable, and you just know what's coming after it. You just know the aftermath of it. The manager, the fans, the next few days, you get that sickening feeling in your stomach, and you do the next game, you kind of go over it.
Let's take a look at the fixtures again, see if we can pick a shock. Now, I know obviously there's a lot of big teams all left in the competition. Let's see if we can take a look and identify a shock.
Any of them lads? Yeah, what we thinking?
Spartans.
Spartans.
My heart's
You've
with
seen
Spartans
them,
this week.
yeah.
He's an honorary Spartans
I'm
player.
going to go Airdrie to beat Dundee.
Wow.
At Dundee,
Big
right,
shout.
okay.
Dundee
Yeah.
flying at the start.
Do you think
of the
that's
season.
because Dundee will be more focused on stuff they're doing in the league, that they'll have their eye off the ball in
That's
cup
because you've
competitions?
asked me to pick one, and that's the first one I
So
saw.
I'm looking for an angle. But yeah, no, okay.
No, my thinking behind it was, I think I saw them this season. One of the games I went to, they beat East Kilbride 8-0, and I know it was East Kilbride, and I know they're a lot higher than them, but they play football. I think no matter who they play.
Rangers
They've
St
got
Johnstone, can
style.
you see that being one that maybe?
Hampden
No, I
factor.
think
I keep
Rangers
mentioning
react. Rangers react to that and get a victory.
Do you know what it is? It's the Dundee United thing. He's trying to stay
That's what it
on
is.
favour with the
Yeah.
Dundee United fans, so you've got Dundee eking out the cup.
No,
It just took me a
no
minute to
chance.
suss you out.
Nah,
You've
no
gone.
chance.
You gone Falkirk.
I think Falkirk Hearts, yeah, for me.
How do you think Falkirk will do this year?
I think they'll do all right. They're up there already, aren't they? But again, the unbeaten factor, how long can you keep that going? Maybe one defeat will derail everything, but John McGlynn, you've obviously got your mate Lizzie down there.
I dropped in there last start of this year actually. They were obviously halfway through the season and they went unbeaten. And I remember I went in the dressing room and stuff, and they were doing their team meeting before training. And he was talking about the fact they hadn't lost a game yet. And even me sitting there, I was like, still a long way to go. I was like, they'll definitely slip up. They have to slip up. It's unusual, you know. But they went all the way, and that'll stay with them until they get beat. The momentum will just be there.
I don't know if they're still doing it. They'd have to have a big wall, but didn't they have pictures on the wall of every game that they remained unbeaten? I'm sure I saw something
Pictures
like
on that you get smaller, or the wall on that you get bigger.
Maybe,
depending how long it
It's a big
goes.
old stadium, to be fair. I'm sure there's some wall space there.
Let's. This is my least favourite part of every show, and I think it's going to stay that way, unfortunately, because you take these things much more seriously than me. Let's take a look at fantasy football from last
I've not had a very
weekend.
good week though, so I was buzzing about it last week.
I'm still probably better than mine, honestly. I just keep thinking back to week one and Gerald Taylor. I mean, I fell in love with him after week one. I fell out of love with him in week two. It's the fickle life of a football manager. What can I say? But the top scorers from last week, as you can see, Adama Sidibe, we mentioned them, didn't we? Talking about the strikers, scoring the double. Jamie McGrath, I think luckily did have him involved. He's racking up the points. And Luke McCowan as well. Really impressive start to the season. Now, if we take a look at our league, the warm-up league, I mean, clearly the most important bit is the 1, 2, 3 and 4, but we're drawn further down. As you can see, the Paul McWinners are struggling. You're pulling away from me. Although
we're happily mid-table.
8 places between us.
That could, honestly, one decent captain shout for the weekend and that'll just completely switch.
I feel like I can make my peace with that. I've got low expectations. I set my bar really low. And there's the overall fantasy. Look at those numbers. How is someone's going to need to educate me on how you rack up those numbers? But Danish Celt is absolutely flying. Got a nice wee cushion up there as well.
Must have Schmeichel in this team, surely. Danish Celt.
Is your mother well? I just like the name there, so I need to try and track them down, find out who that is. But pretty pretty impressive. Well, I think that's us. I think that's all we've got time for on the latest edition of the warm-up. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Big thanks, brilliant guests, Charlie Mulgrew and Sam Wardrop. Pleasure to have you.
Yep, thanks for coming on, lads. To everybody watching, please do subscribe so you don't miss an episode every single Friday. Thank you for watching.
See you next time.